stay cool.
So let's go over this article really quickly. Very interesting article. Finally, I've been talking for quite a while about how different government entities need to be held accountable, especially when it comes to police across this nation and where I am really interested in Queensland Police Service. They need to be held accountable for when they let down the public, when they let down the state of Queensland, they let you and I down. They need to be held accountable. I think some of the areas they need to answer for is their training, their lack of training, the way they've gone down with their diversity hires, trying to get their 50-50 male female, but they've lowered the standards in order to get, so instead of thinking, hey, let's get the best females, they were struggling to get females in, so they said, well, let's just lower the standards and get females. And what happens when you do that? You lower your standards, you have issues. We're talking about sending people out there who are armed. And in a lot of the cases, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be sent out into the field armed. They don't have the experience. They don't have the aptitude. Sometimes it's a little scary. Anyway, it seems like the government is finally holding someone accountable. This headline comes from the Courier Mail. Cops fined over death. Is by Shayla Chamberlain. The Queensland Police Service has been fined more than $400,000 over its failure to provide adequate training to an officer killed in the line of duty while trying to stop a stolen car. Respected Mounted Unit Senior Constable Dave Masters, who was 53, died in June of 2021 when he was hit by a stolen car while attempting to deploy a tire deflation device along the Bruce Highway in Burpengary, Burpengary in the early hours of the morning. So the Caboolture Magistrate Court was told he was not adequately trained to deploy tire deflation devices, TDD, and completed training just 4 times in 10 years, including one session over a PowerPoint presentation. Now, I can confirm that I did several training sessions where it was PowerPoint. When they were just anyway. So the Queensland Police Service pleaded guilty and was fined 425,000 after a workplace health and safety investigation charged the service with one count of failure to comply with health and safety directions. Queensland Police Union President Shane Pryor told the Courier Mail the court action validates the concern of frontline police and called for this is the extremely helpful comment from Shane Pryor. He's called for gas-powered, remotely operated devices rather than manually deployed ones. As president of the QPU, I want the police commissioner to act swiftly and issue these remote tire deflation devices for every police vehicle in the state and implement training so every officer is qualified to use them. Every officer. Yeah, okay, that is not feasible. It's just not feasible. Every officer qualified and issue these remote tire deflation devices for every police vehicle. Fine, yeah, okay. No, he knows very well that's not feasible. Anyway, according to documents, Constable Masters completed TDD training in 2011, 2013, and twice in 2019 over a total of 5 hours. One of the training blocks was a PowerPoint presentation, and another was a course at the police academy. The defendant should have eliminated the risk by ensuring that prior to the task, Constable Masters received adequate training, court documents said. The failure exposed the deceased to a risk of death or serious injury. Between 2014 and 2020, court documents stated there were 9 incidents of TDD-related injuries within the QPS. All of the officers injured had limited training. Mr. Pryor said he had spoken to the Masters family and the court action had stirred up their emotions again. They have always been confident Dave acted the way he had been trained. And really, there are only 2 people that should be held responsible for his death, and they are still yet to face a trial. The alleged driver of the car, which hit Constable Masters, Sky Ann Wallace, and her passenger, Kari Lewis O'Brien, 27, have both been charged with his murder. They are awaiting trial. Constable Masters joined the service late in life after working for some years as a diesel mechanic. He is survived by his wife Sharon and son Jack. A police spokeswoman said QPS will not be contesting the charge. The spokeswoman said the service was committed to improving training, equipment, and procedures to avoid similar tragedies in the future, which included face to face training. Okay, so look, I think it's great that workplace health and safety are holding Queensland Police Service accountable for their inability to train properly. Actually, I shouldn't say inability because they have the ability. They just, I, I don't think they have the ability to organize things properly sometimes when it comes to training. Now, obviously, there are a lot of issues within QPS at the moment. We have the retention rate is absolutely atrocious. So there's just far too many experienced police officers leaving. That's due to a number of reasons. I think it goes back. You look at what happened with the mandate. Basically, Queensland Police Service turned police against other police. Okay, and you had police officers who felt that there was no other course of action they could take. Um, and you obviously also had a lot of police that were stood down, a lot of police that were fighting the QPS because of the mandates. So you've turned the public against the police. You turned police against police. Now you've had a lack of training. The workplace health and safety are holding you accountable. Now, the officer, Dave Masters, he passed away, and they're saying it's because of partly due to this lack of training. What I would question, what I would question is how many people have been shot over the last couple of years due to Queensland Police Service not training police officers adequately? How many people have been shot, have been tasered, have been injured because the Queensland Police Service has gone down a route where they've decided we need a 50-50 model in place and we don't and we haven't adequately recruited the right type of people for the job. We haven't recruited people who are able to handle the pressures. We haven't recruited people who are able to talk to people, who are able to diffuse situations. We no longer recruit people because of their who are in because they're intelligent, because they are well spoken, because they are able to diffuse a situation, because they are able to think, because they are able to think through stressful situations. They are able to handle the pressure and they are able to de escalate. Now, what they've decided to do is go down this route where they recruit people who are interested in lifestyle and money. I did an episode on this ages ago. I said, if you recruit people and what their main goal is lifestyle and money, all they recruit, all they want to, all they're interested in life is lifestyle and money. They're not worried about community. They're not concerned about serving their community. They just want selfish ambition, desires, lifestyle and money. If you recruit on lifestyle on the basis of lifestyle and money, as the Queensland Police Service have done for a few years now, what you're going to get is more deaths. You're going to get more police officers dying because they can't handle the pressure, because they can't think things through, and you're going to get more of the public being injured, if not fatally injured, because the police officers aren't sufficiently trained and because they are not recruiting the right type of person. The Queensland Police Service has been recruiting according to their DEI recommendations. That's all they're interested in. They're recruiting people who are far too concerned with lifestyle and money. And if you're recruiting people who are just interested in lifestyle and money, you are endangering the community and you're endangering the people who you're recruiting because they can no longer handle the pressures. They can't handle the pressures because they're not the right person for the job. As we saw with that issue, the job in New South Wales, two police officers. One was a sergeant, for crying out loud. The other, a senior constable, more than 10 years experience. They've gone in there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and an old lady, 95 years old, he can't think of anything else. Sorry, I'll go back. The sergeant tries to grab the knife. This is a serrated edged steak knife. She fails. The old lady, 95 years old with a walking frame, turns and stares at them. These two police, I'll say that loosely, police officers can't think of anything else to do other than the big 6 foot something, 100+ kilo police officer saying, well, I'll just have to pull my taser. What else can I possibly do? This is the problem. We're getting police in there who cannot think through a situation. They forget their training or they're inadequately trained. They cannot work out a situation, a high risk situation, and they cannot work out, okay, this is the steps we need to do to de escalate. All they do is go straight up, straight up. Well, we're going to pull our weapon, we're going to pull our taser, we're going to pull our gun. You look at how many police shootings we've had in Queensland, how many instances of police shooting civilians in Queensland just in the last couple of years, just this last 12 months. I could, I could, there were a couple of incidences where I've looked at it, you read the reports and you're going, it seems like there were other options there other than shooting, other than pulling your service weapon out and pointing your gun at that person. There were so many other options there. Just from reading the report, you think there are other options there, but you have police who aren't adequately trained. And not just that they're not adequately trained, they're not suitable for the job. They can't think through high risk situations. So all they go for is straight to the top. Let's just pull our weapon. The only thing I can do, because I can't talk to people anymore, because I can't de-escalate situations, because I can't think through a high risk situation when I'm under pressure, all I can think of is, oh, she's got a serrated edged knife. She can't do any real damage because she's so old. So I'm going to pull my gun or I'm going to pull my taser. Or, okay, he's in the room. He's he's a criminal. He's wanted on a warrant, but we've got him in a room. He's all by himself. But instead of doing a tactical retreat, no, I've got to pull my gun, and I can't just hold him in the room, get other officers, get other support. I can't talk him down. I can't de-escalate. No, he's got a knife, so I have to shoot. Forget the fact that he's just standing there. I have to shoot. They cannot talk. They cannot communicate. Communication is such a key, or used to be such a key point of Queensland Police Service training, of police training in general. But we've lost that ability. And that's because the services across our nation are far too interested in DEI, far too interested in getting 50-50 instead of getting the right personnel for the job who can handle the flipping pressure. So finally, health and safety has stepped in and fined the Queensland Police $425,000. And who's going to pay for that? Ultimately, you and I. The taxpayer pays for it. That's who ultimately pays for it anyway. It's the government just finding another arm of the government. But at least they're being held accountable. At least they're being held accountable. What is actually going to change? Are human resources in Queensland Police Service, are they going to be held accountable for their recruitment drives, for the type of person that they've been bringing in? Are the police union, with their suggestion of getting people in who are interested in lifestyle and money, are they going to be held accountable for getting people who are just interested in lifestyle and money? We need to be holding the government, holding Queensland Police Service more accountable. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these incidents where people have been shot, we're going to see the courts decide, hey, they were only shot because the Queensland Police Service didn't recruit properly and they didn't train their officers sufficiently. And so all they could do was pull their weapon, pull their service firearm and shoot a person because they didn't have the ability to work through a high risk situation. They didn't have the ability to communicate verbally, to de-escalate. This is what happens when you don't train people properly. This is what happens when you don't recruit properly. This is all just my opinion. And I'm just I'm just a former senior constable with the Queensland Police Service. So what would I know? My name's Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope.
And say it isn't real. don't go away. Just give me one more day. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. We could start again. We could start again.